For almost all of human history, the moon was impossible. Every night, people looked up at the same glowing circle in the sky. It inspired myths, religions, and legends. Some believed it was a god. Others believed it was a perfect world floating above Earth. But one thing united everyone. No one imagined a human would ever stand there. The moon was nearly 400,000 kilometers away. There were no roads, no ships, no mountains tall enough to reach it. Even flying seemed impossible. Then, everything changed. In 1903, two bicycle mechanics named Orville and Wilbur Wright achieved something humanity had dreamed about for thousands of years. Their fragile wooden airplane stayed in the air for only 12 seconds. It traveled just 37 meters. It didn't seem important, but those 12 seconds changed history forever. For the first time, humans had escaped the ground. Within a few decades, airplanes became faster, stronger, and capable of crossing entire continents. Engineers began asking a new question. If we can fly through the sky, could we leave Earth itself? The answer wasn't another airplane. It was a rocket. Unlike airplanes, rockets don't rely on wings to stay in the air. They work by throwing enormous amounts of burning fuel downward. Every explosion pushes the rocket upward. The faster the gases leave the engine, the faster the rocket climbs. The problem was gravity. Earth pulls everything back down. Throw a ball and it falls. Fly a plane, and gravity is always trying to pull it back. To escape Earth forever, a spacecraft must reach nearly 40,000 kilometers per hour. Nothing in history had ever moved that fast. The first major breakthrough came during World War II. German engineer Wernher von Braun and his team built the V-2 rocket, the world's first long-range ballistic missile. It was created as a weapon, but it proved something incredible. A rocket could reach the edge of space. After the war ended, both the United States and the Soviet Union raced to capture German rocket technology. That race became something much bigger. The space race. It wasn't just about science. It was about proving which nation had the greatest technology in the world. In 1957, the Soviet Union shocked everyone. A small metal sphere called Sputnik became the first human-made object to orbit Earth. For the first time in history, something built by humans was circling the entire planet. The United States had fallen behind. Then came another surprise. In 1961, Soviet pilot Yuri Gagarin became the first human to travel into space. He orbited Earth once and safely returned home. Again, America lost the race. Just weeks later, President John F. Kennedy made one of the boldest promises ever spoken. America would land a man on the moon before the end of the decade. At the time, it sounded impossible. NASA hadn't even sent a human into orbit yet. Many scientists weren't sure it could be done, but thousands of engineers accepted the challenge. They designed new computers, invented stronger materials, created life support systems, and tested hundreds of new technologies. Every failure taught them something. Every explosion brought them one step closer. The biggest challenge was building a rocket powerful enough to escape Earth's gravity. That rocket became the Saturn V. Standing 110 meters tall, it was taller than a 36-story building and remains one of the most powerful machines ever built. When its 5 giant engines ignited, they produced enough force to lift more than 3,000 tons into the sky. The ground shook. Windows rattled kilometers away. It was less like a vehicle and more like a controlled earthquake. Finally, on July 16, 1969, Apollo 11 lifted off from Earth carrying 3 astronauts: Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, Michael Collins. For 4 days, they crossed the empty darkness of space toward the moon. There was no air, no sound, only silence. Then came the most dangerous moment. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin climbed into the tiny lunar module named Eagle and separated from the main spacecraft. As they descended, warning alarms suddenly filled the cockpit. Their computer was overloaded. Fuel was running out. The planned landing site was covered with dangerous boulders. Armstrong took manual control. Every second mattered. With only seconds of fuel remaining, the Eagle touched the surface. Mission Control waited in complete silence. Then Armstrong spoke the words that entered history forever. The Eagle has landed. Hours later, he climbed down the ladder and placed his boot onto the moon. For the first time in the history of Earth, a human stood on another world. Millions of people watched live around the globe. It wasn't just America's victory. It was humanity proving that impossible doesn't stay impossible forever. Only 66 years separated the Wright brothers' first flight from the first footsteps on the moon. A journey that began with a wooden airplane ended with humans standing nearly 400,000 kilometers away on another world. And perhaps the most incredible part of the story isn't that we reached the moon. It's that everything humanity has achieved since began with the courage to believe the impossible could one day become reality.